Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10 and support the channel at the same time. It's John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to this special edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. This is our September Picks of the Month edition, and if you've seen the series before, you know we're going to look at some undervalued cards that are potentially good pickups for you for the course of the month. And today's theme is going to be cards that are rotating out of Standard. These are all cards that they're leaving the Standard format. Because of that, they're seeing some price dips, and will continue to see some price dips over the next few weeks. But they are seeing play in other formats, in a lot of cases Modern, sometimes even Legacy, Vintage, or other places. And because of that, you could find some good deals over the next few weeks. I do want to point out one thing about the video, though. This video goes out first to gold patrons. So by the time you see this on YouTube, it's going to be a few days old. Some of the prices may have changed slightly, but for the most part, these are trending down. So if anything, I hope these are a little bit lower than what you're seeing here. Now, quickly before we get started, if you check out the description below, you'll find a couple ways to support us, one of which is our Amazon affiliate links. If you make any purchases via the links, a small percentage will come back to us. You also find our Patreon page linked below, a great way to help us keep doing what we're doing. And then finally, Flipside Gaming has also given a link and a promo code, and you'll find that down below for our viewers, which is pretty awesome. With that being said, let's get into the cards for today. We're going to start off with Gideon, Ally of Zendikar. Gideon is a great pickup right now, $10.61, and quite honestly, still dropping. But here's the deal. We know what Gideon has done in Standard. He's been pretty amazing over its lifespan. But what about Modern? Gideon still sees playing Abzan decks, Eldrazi and Taxes decks, Human Company decks, and others. Sometimes Taxes decks will run this. So between that, as well as some Twin Stoneblade play or Death and Taxes play in Legacy, this is a real nice pickup, especially if you can find it for under $10. Endless One at 70 cents. It's kind of funny how metas evolve and people just kind of forget about cards. And this is a good example of that. About a year and a half ago, we had Eldrazi Winter, and Eldrazi were just everywhere in Standard. So many things have changed since then. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these Eldrazi cards, you're going to see a number of them on the list today, still seeing a lot of play in other formats. For example, this one shows up in Eldrazi Stompy decks in Legacy. So if you can pick up a playset of these for like under $4, I would say why not at this point. Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, $12.53. I promise more Eldrazi. Maybe impact-wise, this could be the biggest of them all that we'll see today. Ulamog has definitely played a huge role in a number of formats since this card premiered. Now, even though it's leaving Standard, it's still huge in Modern. It's just huge in those Tron decks. People that play Tron, this is basically a staple now in those decks. And Tron's a very popular deck to play in Modern. It's a lot of fun to play. It's actually one of my favorites. So I do think this will go down a little more over the next few weeks, but I don't see it going as low as maybe Gideon, Ally of Zendikar. I think its role in Tron is just too prominent. Sanctum of Ugin, 96 cents. Speaking of Tron decks in Modern, guess what? This is a huge piece of them as well. So again, another card that we saw a lot of Standard play a while back, but it's been a long time now. Things have changed and evolved, and this has fallen off a lot of players' radars. Get a playset of these for under $4. Again, I would just do it. Shambling Vent, $2.83. Now, this is the only creature land you're going to see on the list today, but quite honestly, I do think all the creature lands are good pickups if you want to just have them in your mana base to build decks with at some point, and not just competitive decks, even for like Commander or just casual play. I think these are great cards. This one, though, I did decide to highlight because it's still got a pretty cheap, decent price point. It's seeing a lot of play in Modern. It shows up in Abzan decks, Eldrazi and Taxes, sometimes Smallpox decks, among others. Eldrazi Displacer. Okay, we're back on the Eldrazi train again with this one, and why not? $2.70. Pretty good pickup here, and it sees play in places like Eldrazi and Taxes in Modern, Bant Eldrazi also in Modern, and there's even a Displacer Taxes deck in Vintage right now. Kozilek's Return at $4.27. Now, when it comes to growth potential, this is maybe one of the bigger cards we're going to talk about today. If you can find these for under $5, I would just go ahead and pick them up. These cards, yes, we saw what they've done in the Standard format over time. They were really good there, but even more so in Modern and even Legacy. Right now, this card is a key part of the Grixis Death Shadow deck, extremely popular deck in Modern. It also sees play in Amulet Titan decks, another popular deck in that format. Not to mention even some play in like Scred Red sometimes in Modern, and you'll find this in some variants of Show and Tell decks as well in Legacy. World Breaker, $3.16, maybe not as big as some of the other cards we're talking about today, but another card that does have at least a small role in some Tron decks. Mana Reshaper, $2.40, another one of those Eldrazi we remember from that winter about a year and a half ago. And again, still seeing a lot of play in other places, especially Eldrazi Tron in Modern. I mean, that's a huge, huge place for this card. But even beyond that, Bant Eldrazi decks in Modern and Eldrazi Stompy decks in Legacy will play this. Reality Smasher, $4.26. Guess what? It's another Eldrazi. And guess what? It's still seeing a lot of play in a lot of places. So yes, Eldrazi Tron is probably the key one, of course, in Modern, but also, again, in that Legacy Eldrazi Stompy deck, or Bant Eldrazi in Modern, much like the previous card. Thought-Knot Seer, $6.97. And yes, this one's a little more expensive than some of the others we saw on the list today, but it is playing a huge role in a number of formats. And really, third verse, same as the first. Here we go again. All of the decks I mentioned before, yeah, guess what? They use this. The Tron decks in Modern. You'll find these also in Eldrazi and Taxes decks in Modern. You're going to find them in Legacy Eldrazi Stompy. There's actually some mono blue vintage decks that run actually a number of Eldrazi, and those can be pretty successful. This, of course, is part of those decks as well. Kalitas, Trader of Get, or if you prefer the newer pronunciation, Kalitas, Trader of Get, $11.87. A lot of people ask me about that. Basically, this was originally Kalitas, was how Wizards intended it to be pronounced back when this character originally came out in Zendikar, but because people didn't really pronounce it that way, they did officially change it later on. I have just a hard time breaking the habit. I have to probably get used to saying Kalitas, but anyway, $11.87 for this one. I do think this card is going to dip a little more than a lot of the cards we've seen today due to the fact that it's still playing a pretty large role right now in Standard, and as we get closer to the rotation, I do expect a larger loss than maybe you're going to see from a lot of the cards that we're talking about on today's list. So don't jump the gun on this one. Maybe wait a couple weeks. I think the price point will come down a little bit. It is seeing some Modern play, but also not as heavy as some of the other cards we're seeing today. But it does show up in some Golgari mid-range, some Fairies decks, some Smallpox decks, stuff like that. Tireless Tracker as we move on to Shadows over Innistrad. This card, $4.57, but I'll tell you, this thing is all over the place again. Another key part of a major Modern deck, this time Titan Shift, but this also shows up in Modern Abzan in a whole bunch of different company decks. This is one of those company staples that's a pretty big deal right now in Modern. And this even occasionally shows up in some Legacy land decks if you want to go really deep. Blessed Alliance. Okay, I'm always talking about these Alliance cards and these collective cards and stuff from this time period, but these are really good cards. And you're going to find that just overall, Eldritch Moon, out of all these sets we're talking about today, is going to hold its value better because the print run was lower than the other sets we're talking about today. So even though this is an uncommon, it's at $1.85. I still think that's a pretty decent pickup for the card because this is seeing a lot of play in Azorius Control decks in Modern. It will show up again in Company decks in Modern, and even some Taxes decks and just random things like Bant Spirits and stuff. So definitely a good pickup at a good price point. Selfless Spirit, $3.75. Another card that's pretty much all been forgotten about in Standard, and because of that, it's not on a lot of radars right now. But for those Modern players out there, again, counters Company decks, Death and Taxes decks, and even sometimes Elves decks or Nightfall decks. They're all trying to run this card. Thalia, Heretic Cathar, $1.99. And the moment I saw this card, I knew right away, perfect Death and Taxes card, and that's what it is. In Modern, you'll find this in Death and Taxes. You'll also find this in Human Company, Human Bant, Nightfall decks, really a whole bunch of places. Collective Brutality, $11.90. Okay, let's get real for a moment. I'm talking to you right now, individually. These other people can't hear me. I'm just talking to you. Why have you not bought a playset of this yet? I've been saying for a year and a half now to pick up a playset, and it keeps creeping up and creeping up and creeping up, and it's not really going to go down all that much. It will come down probably a little bit, but I don't really see it going lower than $11, $10, quite honestly. And then look out, because this card has tremendous growth potential. If you do not have a playset, let me repeat this one more time. If you do not have a playset of this, there's no excuse anymore. This is your last chance. Jump on this before this card starts to climb, and it is going to climb. This card is not messing around. It is all over the place in Modern. Black is a very popular color right now in the format, and this is a very popular staple. And yes, Grixis Death Shadow decks are a huge role for this card, as you can imagine. But also Abzan decks, Tron decks, Dredge decks, Lantern Control decks. I could go on, but I won't. Please get your playset. Please, do it for me. As a favor, just get your playset. Alright, Liliana the Last Hope. This one's a little expensive, $29.99. Now, much like the card we saw a little bit ago, Kalidas, I feel like this is still seeing a lot of standard play. That's part of the reason it's still inflated as much as it is, and it will come down a little bit. However, keep in mind, we're talking about Eldritch Moon here, so the rules that apply for some of these other sets like Battle for Zendikar out the window. She will go down, but I'd be very surprised if she gets below 25, honestly. Maybe a little below 25, but I would be shocked. And here's the reason. She's seeing a lot of great Modern play. Grixis Death Shadow, of course, again, being the most popular one, but Abzan, as well as some of the mid-range decks, Fairies decks, Smallpox decks. She's all over the place. She's even being sprinkled a little bit into Legacy now. So, yeah, this is a card, when you look at the print run of Eldritch Moon, combined with the power level of this card, this one's going to be a big one. Grim Flayer. Okay, here's another one that had a big day in its time in Standard and starting to fall off a little bit now in that format, but don't forget, definitely sees Modern play. And again, the big deck for this one is Abzan. Spell Queller. This is our last card for today. Again, Spell Queller, $5.24. Great pickup. This is an awesome control card for Modern. It sees play currently in a lot of the Azorius control decks or the Jeskai Tempo decks. Also even shows up in like Bat Nightfall, among other places. So again, another great pickup at an affordable price. With that being said, those are the September picks of the month. So I hope this helps you make some good decisions when it comes to buying or trading for cards this month. You're going to find a lot of deals now, as standard players who aren't concerned about Modern or Legacy or even Vintage are going to start liquidating their cards so that they can pick up stuff for the new meta. You can take advantage of that if you are somebody that enjoys especially Modern, as you saw here today. Anyway, until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.